How's it going, Giants fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. And today I want to give you guys some insight update on Kayvon Thibodeaux, who's been wearing a red jersey during mandatory and voluntary training camp. And everyone's wondering, why is Kayvon Thibodeaux, our 5th overall pick, already injured? Why is our biggest fears coming to fruition? Well, some good news. He's not that injured. And the management have just been taking it really, really cautious with their top draft pick in the new regimen. And I think that's the right thing to do, honestly, with Joe Shane, Brian Dable coming over from Buffalo, clearly have a different concept on how to mitigate and manage injuries and, aggravating them in the future. So I think what they've done has been pretty smart. Keep him in individual drills. Don't put him in a spot where he can get re-injured or, further the injury. That way it impacts his regular season. The physical toll that players took last year during the last regimen and, how many consequences were built into the system, I think took a toll on them physically and it kind of increased the probability of getting injured or aggravating things. So the injury for Kayvon Thibodeaux, according to Dan Duggan of The Athletic, is apparently a hip tweak. Yes. He tweaked his hip. So Anthony, what are your thoughts on this injury, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and how they've kind of mitigated him so far to make sure it doesn't get any worse?
Well, I think it's a minor injury, as we all suspected, and that is important because he is going to be ready for the start of training camp, and that's really what we wanted, I say, as the thunder starts to boom. But Kayvon Thibodeaux, dealing with this tweaked hip, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a big deal. We really just wanted him to be ready to go for training camp because mandatory minicamp, yeah, they're introducing the players to the coaching staff and they're getting familiar with the building, but that's not the most important thing in the world. Training camp is where things get important. That's where depth charts start to, take fruition. That's where players start to find out whether they're going to be cut or whether they're going to make the roster. And more importantly for Kayvon Thibodeaux, that's where players start to practice together, gain chemistry, and learn the schemes. That's where it really starts to get hammered home, and they really start to do all of their learning for the year. So it's super important for Kayvon Thibodeaux to be healthy for training camp. He is going to be healthy for training camp, and I do really appreciate the way that Brian Dable and his coaching staff have taken it nice and easy with Kayvon Thibodeaux to ensure that he does not make this hip tweak become anything worse than what it already is.
Yep. And that's ultimately all the Giants can do, make sure he's healthy for training camp and preseason and the regular season. Because at the end of the day, you need this guy on the field, right? Like, he's a polarizing type of athlete. He is made in a lab. If you ask Wink Martindale, he's got unbelievable size at 6'4", 256 pounds. Like he is going to be most likely your most impactful rookie. I mean, you could probably say Evan Neal will rival him pretty closely, but I think as a pass rusher, it's easy to see the numbers. It's easy to see how good a guy on defense is, especially when you're comparing like offensive lineman versus defensive lineman. The statistics, it's funny because like an offensive lineman, the least amount of stats they have, the better. And for a pass rusher or a defensive edge rusher, the more stats they have, the better. So it's like totally polarizing in that sense. Like, I never want to hear an offensive lineman's name. Like, the more you say an offensive lineman's name, the worse they're doing. Except for Andrew Thomas, who deserved a lot of praise because he was the only bright spot last year. But Kayvon has the capabilities to be that difference maker. And honestly, I hope he really shines his rookie season because, in Wink Martindale's system, it's a very aggressive, man coverage heavy. They're going to ask him to do a lot, and he's going to have to stop the run. He's going to have to do a lot of different things. And I just want to see them remain healthy. You know what I mean? Like, the last couple of years, we've seen these Giants players deal with so many injuries, the receivers, the pass rushers, the quarterback position, Saquon Barkley. It's just getting to be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, at a certain point, you look at other teams, look, injuries are part of the NFL. It's part of football, but there has to be some other variables that are playing a part in the demise of these players, like Kadarius Toney's ankles. Like, why are his ankles so frail? Why is the guy's ankles made of straw? Is there anything that they can do to strengthen those ankles? Like, Saquon Barkley, what is up with that guy's right leg? Every single year, something happens to the guy's right legs. Daniel Jones, stop diving headfirst into guys. That's a pretty simple one to fix. You know what I mean? We know why you're getting injured. You're going headfirst into Dallas defenders in AT&T Stadium and getting up looking like you just got rabies. So it's unbelievable how these guys have kind of had to manage all these injuries, and our best playmakers too. It's not even no-name players. It's our best players, always injured. Kenny Golladay, hamstring, whatever it might be, always injured. And now hopefully Brian Dable and Mike Kafka and Joe Shane can figure out a way to kind of alleviate those things. But so far, Kayvon Thibodeaux's little tweaked hip thing, it doesn't seem like a big deal. Seems like he's going to be ready for training camp. He's going to be ready to go for spring, or rather for summer and preseason, and hopefully week 1. Just make sure that they take it easy with him. They know what he is. Does he even need to take a rep during preseason? Not really. If he's healthy, then maybe throw him in for a couple reps, get him used to the field, get him used to the game and the scheme, in live action. But at the end of the day, like if he's still like a little bit on the edge, if he's a little, tweaked still, don't put him in a spot where he's going to get injured, man. And I think that's kind of like how you round up this entire thing. But yeah, that's pretty much like the main news for today. Kayvon Thibodeaux's little injury. Hopefully gets that red jersey off. Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay were both wearing red jerseys during a mandatory and voluntary minicamp as well. So like and Aaron Robinson, a lot of guys, man. Like why are so many guys on the injured list? I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but hopefully they get off of it soon. They can make an impact and really start to learn this system and scheme in person. That pretty much wraps up this video, guys. Short little update for you guys on the injury situation for Kayvon. But tomorrow's episode, we're going to take a look at Darnay Holmes and what he's going to offer this team. I think low key he could be a pretty good option on the outside and in the slot. This is a great opportunity for Darnay or any of these corners really to make a push to be a starting corner this year. It's up for grabs. So let's see what's going to happen. We'll look at Darnay Holmes tomorrow and give you an idea of what he brings to the table and why maybe he could win that job. But as always, my friends, make sure to like and subscribe down below on YouTube. Leave a comment. Always love to say hi. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants video.
TVSO.